Hello everyone, and welcome to our CFS special long range on July 20th, 2025. So, on Sundays, we tend to look at the CFS long range for the next 5 months, and it takes us into today, it takes us up to January 2nd of 2026. So, it takes us into midwinter. So, let's see what these runs have to show today. So, as we know, we got this area of low to deal with through the part of this week. Then briefly drier before it goes westerly again. It's also a bit ridgy there towards end of July, start of August. Stays westerly then start of August. Before around August 8th, 9th, 10th, big area of high pressure starts to get setting going over again. Big area of high pressure starts to get going over us again, should I say? Getting all the words tangled up. Anyway, so going beyond that, it goes quite warm and thundery by mid-August. More westerly, maybe, by the end of August. Some quite deep lows there towards Scandinavia. September starts off warm and quite wet there, I think. Areas of low pressure coming in. By mid-month, we got the Azores high again, so bringing a spell of late summer or early autumn weather, depending on how you see it. Then going into the last part of the month, we go wetter and windier. But early October, we're briefly cooler with a northwesterly airflow. Then we go more westerly, and we see deep low there by the 7th of October. Beyond that, by mid-month, we're going southwesterly, long fetch southwesterly wind, so very wet and windy then. High pressure goes towards Europe by the 20th, and up comes a warm southerly airflow. Briefly warmer in the third week of the month, into the period up to Halloween. We're warm and dry, quite mild and dry, probably cloudy, gloomy, some mist at night as well under that high pressure system. And Halloween itself looks quite mild and dry, but also quite cloudy, I believe, as well. So we start November on a mild and dry note, and we stay that way for the first few days of the month. In fact, that high pressure stays over us, acting and rooters, until around the 10th, when we finally push it to the west, and we get down a cold blast by between the 10th and 15th of November. We're back into a milder westerly airflow then. Before, by the 20th, we go into another cold shot from the north. What happened there? A brief... that's from today. So that's cold and wet around the 25th. Then beyond that, it goes really cold again by the 28th. That's very... oh, yeah. Very cold then. Maybe, dare I say it, with snow. December starts off mild, wet and windy. Then... goes briefly colder around the 7th of December, but that topples away to the east really, and we keep the high pressure over the country, so it is dry, cold and frosty. Beyond that, mid-month, we're on the periphery of another cold blast, probably staying frosty. Coming towards Christmas now, by the 17th, another cold blast drops in right over the country. Upper temperatures look cold, and there's probably going to be a lot of snow maybe with that. 20th of December, we got blocking firmly over Greenland's trough low pressure right over the country towards the east. Very cold indeed up to Christmas. Oh my god, I'm going to be in trouble for this. I know I'm going to be in trouble for showing these charts, but it's for fun. Very wintry, quite cold, in the last week of December there. On that day, looks snowy in parts of the country. New Year's looks cold, and it actually doesn't. Briefly, less cold on the 30th of that low, but I think by January 1st we go back into the cold air behind the low. Maybe into the new year we do see a mild spell, because as that high topples to the east, I think we'll see the southwesterly wind push in. But most of December looks cold on the CFS run in some way, whether it's frost or wintry true cold. And November sees a lot of cold snaps as well. So, I'm going to be in trouble for this. I'm going to be in trouble. Next thing you know, in the papers it says that I'm forecasting all this cold Christmases in December and November. And then in reality, it'll just be mild, wet, windy. It's always mild, wet, windy. Mild, wet, windy. It's never anything else. Here is the midnight run. CFS. So once again, we're looking westerly. Bit warmer and drier. Around 26th of November. Stays westerly beyond that. August starts off westerly. Dry warmer by the 10th of the month. We get another ridge from the Azores Eye. It's quite strong for a time. By mid-month though, we're going more westerly again. Another ridge there by August 21st. Dry warmer again, maybe hotter. September starts off warm and dry, but I think that won't last long. But a bit thundery there by the 3rd of the month. A bit warm and volatile for the first week, but then westerly by the 10th. Another high builds in behind that, briefly dry and warmer, but then going warm and wet there by the 18th or so. Possibly very warm. This looks like quite a warm September, with periods of dry and wet weather alternating with each other there. But a very warm month coming from the CFS run here. A lot of high pressure involved, indeed. October starts off very warm and wet there by the 4th. Going warmer again beyond that. So a lot of high pressure this autumn, if these runs are right. This run, the 18Z from yesterday, had quite a wet September. I think September was quite wet here by mid-month, and then quite a warm and dry October, then started quite dry and mild in November, then went colder throughout the month. Let's see what this does. So October is definitely dry and warm, so is September. Yeah, a lot of high pressures around. Halloween looking, quite cold actually. And start of November looking westerly. Cold with easterly winds. Are they cold easterlies? Not that, actually, they're decently cold. Some wintry showers possible in the east. Milder by mid-month. And we go into last third of the month. Probably quite frosty in that phase. Yeah, because those are called air mass there. Easterly winds. Quite frosty. Yeah, so this isn't as cold as the last November we saw on this run, but still, there's a lot of cold in there. Frost, wintry showers on the east coast sort of themes here. Late month, we see block-in towards Greenland. Oh no, December starts off mild, wet, and windy, but there's cold blast going on just to the north. I say it's mild, wet, and windy. Oh, cold then by the 9th of December. Descending in, I think that would bring snow, if that's correct, maybe. Probably not. Mid-month looking, okay, I was going to say it looks cold, but no, it doesn't stay cold. Or will it? Oh, we've got background, lines are drawn, big warm wash to the south, but there's a huge block of cold to the north as well. Block towards Greenland, deep low to our west. Let's see, yeah, so the mile there does win out. For a time, we're westerly. Oh no, so we get another ridge towards Greenland by 23rd of December, and down comes the cold air again. Just in time for Christmas. So we get cold Christmas again. So cold Christmas on the 18 said cold Christmas on this run as well. So I don't know what I'm doing, but I feel like I am risking myself. Oh no. Both these runs are showing quite potent cold snaps in the late autumn and early winter period here. So let's move on to the 6Z run. Let's see what this shows. 6Z CFS. So once again, we're going westerly and just westerly through the week. Azores High does try and ridge in from the south, but fails really. August starts off changeable and quite settled really. Will you see that ridge? No. Yeah, so a bit warmer wetter. Possibly a warmer wet August here from this run. Let's go through that. September starts off westerly, wet and windy. We keep it wet and windy the first weeks of the month. Then high pressure does ridge in for mid-month. Yeah, so maybe high pressure for mid-September. What do we think, guys? It's quite a trend here. And then we go beyond that. We say westerly, really quite warm at times through the last part of September, but quite wet as well. October starts off with a big area of high pressure over the country. Again, warm and dry October is a big theme of high pressure. Big Azores high pressure system over us. Big high pressure over us to the east. Warm air mass. You know, will we see a warm October? Because this is a strong trend in the CFS today. A bit chillier, possibly, for a time there. Oh, the minute I say we got a trend, it fails. We go colder for a time around the second week of the month. It stays quite chilly, but quite dry, really, here. But then it does go warmer again around the 20th. Say maybe a brief chilly incursion there by the 24th, but that doesn't last long. Go back into a very... Okay, so it's back now. The trend's back now. You see a very warm and dry October there. A big area of high pressure right over the country. November starts off westerly. Okay. Right, we're back at it again with a big cold snap in November there. Then we get high pressure over to the east of the country, probably frosty. Another cold northerly by the 13th of November. Easterly is by the 16th. What am I doing to myself? Very mild though by the 23rd. Easterly again, but this looks ridiculously easy for cold weather. We know that has never, ever happened so easily. We've never seen all these easterlies, northerlies coming in, and it's never been like this. It's never like this in real life. It's always going to be low pressure, wet, windy, mild, southwesterly winds. Either way, we go into sort of December, and that looks to be, I think, quite mild and dry for a time before it does break down. Well, let's see what this does. So, it looks quite mild, actually, this December so far. Okay, so we're seeing, finally, something quite normal tonight. Yeah, so you're looking mild, wet, and windy here. Very mild there by the 19th. Christmas Day looks mild, wet, windy. Upper temperatures looking warm indeed. Yeah, so this run is definitely more realistic for December, but still for November it's going for all these cold snaps and whatnot. So let's see what has come out so far of the 12 Z run. It gets us up to only mid-November, unfortunately. Let's see what it does anyway up till that point. So you can see that we're westerly for the next few days. August starts off westerly, brief ridge by the 7th of the month. Actually, that does last for a while. Could be a heat wave again there. So also a trend is, I think, about the 10th of August time frame. Could be a heat wave again. That is a trend on the runs today. Quite nice period there, mid-August. September starts actually quite nice and warm and dry, as it often does. There's quite a big... It's typical for the first week of September to be dry and warm, and this does it perfectly. Bit cooler by the 6th of the month there, but it stays westerly. Mid-month, another resource high bridges in, so maybe mid-month of September looking dry and warm. It is a trend. Beyond that, we go more cooler and wetter into the last part of December. October starts off high pressure of the country, warm, dry. Yeah, I think this is quite a, let's see what this does for October. Warm and dry, 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 warm and dry. It stays warm and dry for October. Yeah, it just stays warm until the end of the month, maybe a bit cooler with easterly winds, but all four of these runs, I think, have gone for consistent, at least half to 2/3 of the month of October being dominated by Azores high originating over the country, warm and dry. That's a big signal tonight. So maybe, despite me doing all this for fun, we might be seeing these trends, and hopefully we get something right. I believe the warm trends more than the cold ones. I'm currently completely discounting the cold Novembers and Decembers, but I am believing the warm October, That's just, it's realistic to do that. Yeah, so going beyond that into November, we start looking westerly. Cold start by the 7th of the month. We stay very cold. Oh dear. I'm gonna be in trouble for this. I know I'm gonna be in trouble because this is looking. It's big eye candy for, December and November. The only, this is the only run that has sort of like had a mild December. This one has had quite a cold 2 months there. So it's this one. This one cold November, mild December. This one so far quite a cold November. So we'll see, but it's looking interesting to say the least. Everyone, thanks for watching. I'll see you. Bye for now.